हेलो स्टूडेंट्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल ओमनी ज्ञान। मेरे चैनल ओमनी ज्ञान में आप सब लोगों को बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। सो दिस इज सेट 14 MCQs फ्रॉम द मंकीज पॉ स्टोरी एंड आई हैव कंप्लीटेड द स्टोरी हियर. ओके, प्लीज पे अटेंशन टू द स्क्रीन एंड पार्टिसिपेट इन द MCQ discussion. Okay, English prose for class 10 set 14. The last chapter left is the last two chapters left are 14 and the demon with the matted hair. I'll very shortly I'll bring those videos also on for you. Okay, let us start without much ado. Okay, so top MCQs for SSLC examination. All right, top MCQs for SSLC examination. We'll begin very fast. And remain, now this is a speech from the story, and remained in a state of expectation as though of something else to happen. Speech exactly not by the characters. This is a speech by the writer himself about the white family. Okay, so and remained in a state of expectation as though something else to happen. What were the white couple expecting? So white couple exactly क्या expect कर रहे थे? Okay, what were they expecting? That the monkey's paw would be destroyed. Okay, they were expecting that the monkey's paw would be destroyed. That Herbert would appear again alive. कि Herbert फिर से जिंदा होके वापस आ जाएगा. That they would get more money from the paw. तो कौन सा आपको सही लगता है? It is option B actually, that Herbert would be alive again. They were expecting that if Herbert would be alive again. You see, Herbert is the only son in the family. Herbert is the only son, so this was the expectation of the mother and the father actually. Okay, next question, number 2. Something else. Again, this is again another indirect speech from the story. I'm sorry, this is a speech from the writer himself. Something else which was to lighten this load too heavy for old hearts to bear. What is the load here? तो ये बोझ क्या है? Okay, कि कुछ ऐसा हो जाए कि उनका बोझ हल्का हो जाए. Let something happen that would lighten the load of the white couple, Mr. and Mrs. White. तो ये load क्या है? Is it Herbert's death? Is it option B, Herbert's accident? Or is it C, Mr. White's unconscious state? Mr. White, after hearing the 200 pounds amount as a compensation that Mo and Megan's company was paying right at that time, he fell unconscious. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि ये लोड क्या रेफर करता है यहाँ पे? हर्बर्ट का डेथ, हर्बर्ट का एक्सीडेंट, या मिस्टर वाइट्स अनकॉन्शियस स्टेट? कौन सा आपको सही लगता है? द करेक्ट आंसर इज हर्बर्ट्स डेथ. ओके, सही आंसर यहाँ पे हर्बर्ट्स डेथ. Number 3. Where was the monkey's paw kept when Mrs. White suddenly cried wildly for it? तो monkey's paw कहाँ पे रखा था? Where was the monkey's paw kept exactly when Mrs. White suddenly cried wildly for it? Then go and bring the monkey's paw. Where did you keep the monkey's paw? So which one do you think is the correct answer here? Where was the monkey's paw kept when Mrs. White suddenly cried for it? Is it inside the almirah? Is it on the cupboard? Or is it on the bracket? Which one do you think? Now this could be confusing. These are very minute details from the story. बहुत important details है, छोटे-छोटे details. You know, small, petty, small details from the story, but very, very important. You see, examiners may ask anything, and you will have to know. Okay, so it's very important to read the story also. The correct answer is on the bracket. You see, there is a sentence there. In the parlor. In the parlor. On the bracket. On the bracket. Okay, so this is what you find in the parlor, on the bracket. Okay, so on the bracket is the bracket here means shelf. Shelf होता है ना, bookshelf. Okay, bracket here means shelf, nothing else. So in the parlor, on the bracket. This is the line from the textbook only. Okay, next, how many wishes had been asked till Herbert's death? So till Herbert's death, how many wish had been asked by the White family? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? What do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is 1. Only one wish had been asked. Okay, 200 pounds. Okay, the last 2 wishes will come later. Now it is going to come. Okay, towards the end of the story, it is going to come. Number 5. Why did Mrs. White ask for the monkey's paw? Mrs. White ने monkey's paw क्यों मांगा? To ask for the second wish, to wish for more money, to release their mortgaged house. Which one do you think is the correct answer? Yes, the correct answer is to ask for the second wish. And what is the second wish? That is in question number 6. Okay, so Mrs. White told Mr. White that go and bring the monkey's paw. I want to go for the second wish now. And what is the second wish? So what was the second wish for? The second wish क्या मांगा था? To take back Herbert back to the grave. कि Herbert को जो है, Herbert जिंदा वापस आ गया. Herbert has come back alive. So let Herbert go back to the grave again dead. Option B, to bring back Herbert alive. Herbert को जिंदा वापस लाना है. Okay. Number C, to destroy Moy and Megan's company because Moy and Megan's company was responsible for Herbert's death. So which one do you think is the exact answer here? Second wish, remember, there could be confusion. Here I am talking of the second wish. Second wish is to bring Herbert back alive. Second wish was to bring Herbert back alive. कि Herbert को फिर से जिंदा वापस लाया जाए. And this was the wish. And you see, Mrs. White, the mother, was passionate to bring her son back alive. Only son, you see, there is an emotion, okay, a grave emotion playing inside the heart of Mrs. White. Okay, only son, एक लौता जो बेटा है Herbert, वो मर चुका है. तो she is like passionate, vehement, that very strong in her attitude that Herbert should be brought alive, and she, in a way, she warns. She gives a warning to her husband, Mr. White, that will you go for the second wish or not? Otherwise, I am going to ask for the second wish. Okay, so Mr. White is becomes afraid, frightened of her actually. This also is a very minute detail from the story. This could be asked, how many days had it been since Herbert's death? तो Herbert के death को कितना दिन हो चुका था? Till that time when they were going to ask the second wish. कितना दिन हो चुका था? Is it 7 days? Is it 10 days? Is it 15 days? You might say 7 days. Between 15 days is incorrect. Between 7 days, okay, between 7 days and 10 days there could be little confusion. 7 days or 10 days में confusion हो सकता है. 15 days is incorrect. So which one do you think? Come on, fast. 7 days or 10 days? It is 10 days. 10 दिन हो चुका था Herbert के death को उस वक्त तक, till that time when they were about to go for the second wish. Till that time, okay. How could, number 8, how could Herbert's parents recognize his dead body? So Herbert's body was actually crushed, okay, because he was caught in the machinery. I gave you in the last MCQ that his body was caught in the machinery. So they could not recognize the body. It was completely mutilated, okay, crushed. So they could not recognize his body, but still, because Herbert is their son, so how could they recognize? From his face? Obviously not. If his body is crushed, they cannot recognize from his face. From his belongings, this could be one option. This could be one option from his belongings, like a watch, chain, or something that Herbert was wearing at that time. Or is it C, from his clothes? So these two options could be confusing. A, I told you, is already incorrect. B and C. These two options could be little confusing, but you have to go for the correct option. You have to go for the correct answer. Which one is this? This could be a trick which could be played by the examiner who sets your question papers. From his clothes. कपड़ों से पहचाना Herbert को. Okay, from his clothes, Herbert's parents, Mr. and Mrs. White, could recognize Herbert's dead body. Okay, from his clothes. What is meant by talisman? Okay, or talisman? This has been asked in 2021 already. Anyways, so this again, I am telling you, word meanings are very important. Please study the word meanings also very nicely from prose and poetry both. Study the word meanings, very, 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 very important. Okay, and stressing on the word very, very again, but very important. Is it a lucky charm? Is it a magic lamp? Or is it a magician? Talisman. Now, man, you might think that because there is the word man, so man means a human being, so it could be a magician. No, it's not a magician. Is it a magic lamp or a lucky charm? The correct answer is lucky charm. Any lucky charm is called a talisman. Okay, a magic lamp can be a talisman. Ring on your hand can be a talisman, a lucky charm. Okay, people tend to carry lucky charm in their exams also. I have seen students carrying lucky charms like a pen. Somebody gifted you a pen, and maybe once you wrote with that pen, you scored very good marks. So you have a feeling inside your mind that if I carry this pen, which is a talisman, it will help me score more marks. Okay, lucky charm. Even I carry a pen which was gifted by my sister. So even I carry a pen which is a lucky charm, and it has always proved to be a lucky charm for me. I've always scored good marks whenever I've written with that pen. Okay. Anyways, okay, let's continue. Number 10. He was afraid of her. Why was Mr. White afraid of his wife? Option A, because she was furious. Furious means angry, because she was heavily angry. Number B, because she scolded Mr. White very wildly for not bringing the monkey's paw. Or is it she had an unnatural look on her face? Now you have to go for the exact answer. She was angry. Obviously, she was angry. She scolded Mr. White wildly. Obviously, she scolded Mr. White wildly. So both the answers could be considered. But what I am asking you is the exact answer that the examiner wants from you. She had an unnatural look on her face. This also could be one option. Which one do you think is correct? Now, if you read the book, you will see that the correct option is C. She had an unnatural look on her face. She was wild, she was angry, but the correct answer is she had an unnatural look on her face. This is the exact answer. And this is a line from the book only. Okay. So this is a trick could be played by the examiner. Okay, be alert when you are choosing the correct answer. Each, you see, every mark counts. आप एक मार्क कहेंगे कि it is not important, 2 marks not important, only 5-6 marks question important, then it will be wrong. Why? Because 6 marks only there are 2 questions, 2 broad questions from prose and poetry and 1 broad question from Oliver Twist. The rest all short questions. Choose the correct answer. Reference to the context for 1 mark. Okay, only those. You see, so maximum are short questions and answers. So if you pay attention to the short questions and answers more, side by side, if you complete the grammar and composition part very nicely, it will be very easy to score letter marks for all of you. Okay, build strategy. मैंने यही कहा था in that video which I made, pre-exam tips. I said make strategy. Okay, why did Mr. White rubbish Mrs. White's wish of bringing Herbert back alive? When Mrs. White said that I want to go for the second wish and bring Herbert back alive, Mr. White said that you are talking rubbish. What you're talking is insensible. You're talking rubbish. Don't do this. Why? Because it would be terrible for her to see the mutilated. Mutilated means the crushed body, okay, not in a good condition. It would be terrible for her to see the mutilated body of Herbert, because it was against the law of nature. Bringing a dead back alive is against the law of nature, obviously. Because the monkey's paw would never grant their wish. Now, the monkey's paw would never grant their wish. So, Mr. White was telling that don't do this. So, out of the 3, which one do you think is exact? Number A is the correct answer, because it would be terrible for her to see the mutilated body of Herbert. See, Mr. White explains Mrs. White that no matter that Herbert is our son, but a dead body coming alive, and after 10 days of burial under the ground, his body was already crushed, and on top of that, his body had been under the ground buried for 10 days. So just imagine the condition of the dead body. You will not be able to see that terrible sight in front of you. But Mrs. White said that no, after all, he is my son, I will manage. Okay, so Mr. White was again and again trying to explain, but Mrs. White, being a mother, she is emotional. Who made the second wish? The second wish किसने मांगा था? Is it Mrs. White? Is it Mr. White? Or is it Major Morris? Major Morris, obviously. He is not in the scene. Major Morris तो चला गया उस वक्त ही. After giving the monkeys, right after giving the monkeys paw, Major Morris goes away. So is it Mrs. White or Mr. White? It is Mr. White. Mr. White makes the second wish. Number 13. What happened after the second wish was made? तो क्या हुआ जब second wish was made? उसके बाद क्या हुआ? The wish was not granted. Is it like that? There was storm outside. बाहर बहुत जोर का तूफान आया. Okay, like the way you see in movies. Okay, there was a feeble knock on the front door. तो front door में एक हल्का सा knock हुआ. There is a feeble, very soft knock on the front door. So which one do you think is the correct answer? Their wish was not granted is incorrect. There was no storm outside. So the correct option is option C. There was a feeble knock, halka, soft knock on the front door. Okay, hardly audible. Okay. Number 14. What did Mr. White do when his wife ran to open the door? तो Mr. White ने क्या किया जब Mrs. White दरवाजा खोलने के लिए गई? Option A. He caught her by the arm and held her tightly. He allowed Mrs. White to open the door happily. He switched off all the lights. Which one do you think is the correct answer? Very easy, very easy. He did not allow Mrs. White to open the door happily. Mr. White कभी नहीं चाहेगा कि ऐसा कोई situation आए. So this is an incorrect option. He did not switch off any light. So the correct answer is A. He caught her by the arm and held it tightly. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Number 15. We have some 22, 23, 24 questions. Okay. Why couldn't Mrs. White open the door? So Mrs. White, when she went to open the door, she couldn't do that immediately. Why? Because the bolt was too tight. Bolt मतलब जो ऊपर होता है ना करा that you open. Okay. The bolt was too tight. Because Mrs. White couldn't reach the bolt. Mrs. White's height was short, so she couldn't reach the bolt. Or is it because Mr. White was holding her tightly? Because Mr. White जो है उनको पकड़े हुए थे, इसलिए she could not open the bolt. Which one do you think is correct? Option B is the correct answer, because Mrs. White couldn't reach the bolt. This is the correct option. And I have made an explanation on this particular topic. Okay, particular lesson, and it is in animated form. I think all of you have seen that. Okay, most of you have seen that. If you have not seen, I'll provide the link in the end screen also, plus in the I button I'll provide you the playlist also. You can watch from there, and you can check the playlist from the description box also. English explanations for class 10. If you check, you'll find this animated video. Okay. 16. What did Mr. White do when the bolt was coming slowly? So जब bolt धीरे धीरे, slowly when the bolt was opening, what did Mr. White do immediately? He locked the door tightly. So he immediately went and locked the door tightly. He jumped with joy because Herbert was coming. Okay. He immediately asked for the third wish. आपको कौन सा ऑप्शन सही लगता है? दरवाजा बंद कर दिया? No. He jumped with joy? Obviously not, because he was already explaining Mrs. White not to go for the second wish. So he cannot jump with joy. So the last option left is he immediately asked for the third wish. The monkey's paw was lying on the ground. The monkey's paw was lying on the ground, and Mr. White found the opportunity that while the bolt was slowly coming down, Mr. White thought, no, let me go for the third wish. And what was the third wish? It will come in the next question. What happened after Mr. White asked for the third wish? तो क्या हुआ जब Mr. White ने third wish ask किया? The knocking stopped. Ceased मतलब stopped. Ceased means stopped. So the knocking ceased. The knocking stopped. The knocking continued. Knocking continue होता रहा. Herbert came back alive. So Herbert वापस आ चुका था जिंदा. He had come back alive. So which one do you think is the correct answer? The knocking stopped. Immediately after Mr. White asked for the third wish, the knocking stopped. इसका मतलब Herbert had come, but Herbert went away. So if you continue with number 17, what do you think was the last wish? What was the last wish? To bring back Herbert alive. Herbert had already come, so this cannot be considered. To take back Herbert dead in the grave as he was. So Herbert should go back to the grave as he had come, dead again. Okay, let everything become normal. Okay, option B. To stop Mrs. White from opening the door. क्या सही लगता है आपको? कौन सा सही लगता है आपको? Which one do you think is the correct answer? Come on, which one do you think is the correct answer? Number B. To take back Herbert dead in the grave as he was. So let Herbert go back to the grave dead as he had come. Okay, सब कुछ normal हो जाए. This was the wish, last wish, and it is not mentioned in the story. Last wish is not mentioned in the story. How did Mrs. White react after the door opened? तो Mrs. White ने कैसे react किया जब दरवाजा खुला? She was happy to see Herbert. Herbert had not come. So this is not the correct answer. She was very angry on Mr. White. Could be. She could be angry on Mr. White because he had gone for the third wish without the permission of his wife. She gave a long wail of disappointment after not finding Herbert. Which one do you think is exact? Is it B or C? There could be confusion between B and C. If you look at the book very nicely, you will see that it is C. She gave a long wail of disappointment. Wail matlab kind of a cry. She gave a long cry of disappointment. There's another word in the story I did not give. Disappointment and misery. She gave a long wail of disappointment and misery. This is the correct answer. What was the scene outside? So जब ये सब कुछ खत्म हो गया, when everything got over, Herbert also went back to the grave. What was the scene outside? The street lamp flickered on the desolate road. Desolate means lonely. Desolate means lonely. So the street lamp was flickering, okay, on and off on the desolate, lonely road. There was torrential rain, heavy rainfall was going on outside. All the dead bodies had come from the grave. Now this is obviously not correct, okay. No dead body came from the grave. There was no rainfall. The street lamp flickered on the desolate road. This is the last line of the story. This is the last line of the story. In fact, the last sentence in the story. Okay, this is the last sentence in the story. Next, 23. So only 2 questions left. Okay. The monkey's paw is. This is from 2019. ये 2019 से आया है. 2020 there is no question from the monkey's paw. 2019 and 2021. So the monkey's paw is it a tale of adventure? Is it a comedy? Is it a horror story? Now you see, look at the question asked here. This is not from the book. This is on your understanding. See, this is the trick which will be played by the examiner every time in your exams. This is not from the story. related to the story but not from the story at all. This is based on your understanding of the story. So what do you think is Monkey's Paw? Is it a story of adventure? Is it a comedy? Comedy obviously it is not. So there are two options left. Is it a tale of adventure or is it a horror story? Which one do you think? This could be confusing for all of you because this is not related to the story at all. Now, tale of adventure, let me tell you. Tale of adventure means a story which has many events. Okay, a tale has which is a story which has many events, ups and downs. Okay, hero is there, heroine is there, a journey undertakes, or lots of adventure is there. Okay, and a horror story means a story where we have ghosts or magical things happening. And especially one of the most important element of a horror story is that it takes place at night. Horror stories do not take place in the day. If you look at the story, The Monkey's Paw, the entire story takes place at night. पूरा कहानी जो है वो रात का कहानी. It is the story begins and ends at night time only. So it is undoubtedly a horror story. उसमें भूत भी है. There is ghost also. And the whole atmosphere is very spooky, ghostly. है ना? तो ये सब elements अगर आप consider करें तो it will be very easy for you to understand. Now in the story The Monkey's Paw, the word talisman means, all of you know this thing, a lucky charm. Now there is a lucky mark also here, you see. Many students will go for this option also, but this is incorrect. Something sensitive is obviously not. So a lucky charm, C-H-A-R-M, a lucky charm. Go for this meaning only. Don't go for anything else. Okay, so a lucky charm, this is the correct answer. Okay, this was asked in 2021. Okay, so these are all the 24 questions that I have brought here in MCQ number 13 also you'll find MCQs on the Monkey's Paw. So I've ended Monkey's Paw. Now what is left is 14 and the demon with the mattress. I'll come up very shortly with that. Okay, Saturday and Sunday, again reminding you, Saturday and Sunday live class at 8 p.m. Please join me on the live class. Okay, that's all from me for today. Subscribe to the channel, like and share my videos, invite your friends also to subscribe to the channel. Okay, with love from Omni Gyan, and all the best to all of you. Thank you.